Welcome to Tournament Centre with me, Rich Hagan, and him, Frank Karsten, Hall of Famer from the Netherlands. A ton of great resume, and great to have you with us, Frank. And we're going to talk about the Ad Nauseam combo deck. And we're going to start right in the middle of the board here with this row here, because this is the combo. Frank, tell us what the combo is.
Basically, you need 6 mana, and then you play Angel's Grace, and follow it up with Ad Nauseam. So that allows you to draw basically your entire deck. You will go into negative life totals, but you can't lose that turn.
Because Angel's Grace says doesn't matter, so you just keep drawing and drawing, you lose the life, doesn't matter. So now here we are, we've drawn our deck, then what do we do?
Well, at that point we've drawn some Simian Spirit Guides and Conflagrate. So this gives us a bunch of red mana.
Handy.
We play the Conflagrate for 0, that's allowed. With no targets, and then we flashback it, discarding basically our entire deck for at least more than 20 damage on our opponent.
Alright, so that is the fundamental combo. Get to 6 mana, Angel's Grace, Ad Nauseam, draw the deck, Conflagrate, good game. That's fine. Anytime you have a combo deck, though, you need to put all those pieces together. So I guess the next thing to look at is the next row down, which is how do we actually get there? We've got 3 blue spells. What are the point of each of these?
Indeed. Well, Mystical Teachings is just a 4 mana tutor for any of the combo pieces. You can switch either Angel's Grace or Ad Nauseam. And Ponder and Preordain, just dig deep into your deck in order to find whichever remaining combo piece you need. Or if you already have the combo pieces, they allow you to find the 6 mana required to actually play them. Okay,
let's talk a little bit about finding 6 mana. 6 mana is a lot, so if we come up the table again, we get these cards, Coalition Relic and the Lotus Blooms, and then later on Simian Spirit Guide, because 6 mana, there are decks that are going to try and kill you on turn 2 and 3 and 4, so you can't wait to go land every turn, oh, I've got to 6. Doesn't work like that at all, does it?
No, usually you try to win on turn 4. Either you suspend a Lotus Bloom on turn 1, and then at turn 4 you will have 6 mana, or you just play turn 3 Coalition Relic, put a counter on, turn 4 play the 4th land, and then Relic gives you up to 6 mana to perform the combo. And sometimes you can also just pitch Simian Spirit Guides in your hand if you have them, or use Dreadship Reef to get some more mana.
Okay, we talk about combo decks. What opponents talk about is disrupting the combo. So combos can be very fragile, so you've got some cards to deal with, if you like, the hate from your opponents, and that's right down the bottom here. Tell us about your choices here. We've got 3 Pact of Negation. That'll be pretty familiar to a lot of people. But what's the point of the one of each of the other 3 cards down there? How does that work?
Well, the one of Slaughter Pact is in there just in case people have either one Canonist or a Meddling Mage or a Gather Teague main deck. Creatures that can stop you from playing the combo. The singleton Vendilion Clique similarly can, well, it may randomly block one of those creatures if you flash it in, but it can also take out a counterspell from your opponent's hand.
For sure.
And well, it is in because in a mirror match you want to find some creature with Mystical Teachings and then start attacking basically. And the Thoughtseize, well, is just to take out any disruption your opponent may have.
Alright.
The Pact of Negations are there, well, if your opponent has counter spells, then it allows you to fight back in a counter war, and when he counters your Ad Nauseam, you just counter back. But they are also quite nice. You just play on your opponent's turn 3 when he plays like the burn spell for the last damage.
Sure.
You just pact it in your upkeep when you want to go off, play the Angel's Grace, and don't pay for the pact. Those kind of interactions are also
because I still
quite nice.
can't lose.
Yeah.
Let's head up the table, because you are known as someone who thinks that mana is very important. You said that on the show yesterday with Conley Woods, Frank, and BDM. Tell us about your mana base, because New Extended has really changed the lands that are available to us. Yeah,
well, important elements of the mana base is that I wanted enough blue mana to play like a turn 1 Ponder in order to search for a Lotus Bloom. I mean, if you play turn 2 Ponder and find a Lotus Bloom, it will probably be too late.
Sure.
But I also wanted enough white and white and black mana in order to play my combo pieces. Fortunately, Misty Rainforest works like that, since it can either find Island on turn 1 for the Ponder, or Murmuring Bosk, since it's a forest.
Neat.
Which can give either the white or the black mana that you need. well, we don't have these Ravnica dual lands anymore, so you have to be a bit creative.
So you end up
And-
playing things like Arcane Sanctum to give you all 3 colours up
Yes.
here, and then you've got your pain lands in Underground River. You've got a Dreadship Reef, the storage land. Now, in a way, mana bases, they're an arcane science. How do you teach someone, for people back at home who have no idea how these lands ended up in this deck, what do you tell them for how to go and build their own mana bases?
Well, one way to go at it is to, basically as I did, what does the deck have to do? Or what can my lands allow my deck to do? And in this case, I indeed wanted lots of turn 1 blue mana for the Ponder, and still enough black and white sources. So then I just specified some requirements that I had, like I want at least, let's say, 11, 12 blue sources, preferably more if possible, at least this many black sources, at least this many white sources, and then I just try to tweak the lands based on
Find
that.
the lands that can do that. All right, one final part of the deck to look at, that's after game 1, is right over here. It's the sideboard. So you are the king of Highlander in the sense that you have even played at Pro Tours decks of 75 different cards. So no surprise to find lots of 1 and 2s in the board. What are they all for?
Well, let's start with Gemstone Caverns, which you just board in whenever your opponent is playing first. I didn't find it good enough to play it main deck. I only want it when my opponent is going to play first and it can do something.
And then you get lucky. That's the idea.
Basically.
Yep.
There's a Dreadship Reef, which might seem quite random. It's in there against control matchups where they have like mana leaks and you just want to play it slowly and store your mana. Also against other decks that might attack your artifact mana or something like that.
Yep. We've got more copies of things you've already got, like the double Thoughtseize and the Pact of Negation. Infest, that's pretty straightforward. Everything gets -2, -2. Tell me about the ley lines, because they're new, of course, in M11. Leyline of Sanctity, why are they there?
Well, cards like Thought Hemorrhage and to a lesser extent Thoughtseize are quite annoying. Like Thought Hemorrhage can just win the game if they take out your combo pieces, and Leyline of Sanctity gives you some safety net against those. Also against Scape Shift, this also makes sure that Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, cannot target you anymore.
Sure.
Little things like that can help. And also in a mirror match, I mean, if you have a Leyline in play, your opponent cannot Conflagrate you or Thoughtseize you.
So, in an unknown format, are you looking for generic answers? Things that, well, for example, Patrician Scorn. I don't know what enchantments are going to be in the format exactly, but I'd like to put them all in the bin. So, Patrician Scorn is a catch-all answer.
Yeah, I mean, people can have the white Leyline, the black Leyline that can stop the Conflagrate. They can have Rule of Law, Ruined Halo, Declaration
Yeah,
of
I've seen
Naught.
that.
There are
Yep.
so many crazy answers in this
Declaration of Naught, crikey. Yeah.
And yeah, this indeed can just, but for example, if your opponent has a Leyline, you play it for free after you've drawn your deck and you'll play out your combo.
Thank you very much. This is awesome. Now, the final question I have here is why this deck? Because you didn't have a ton of information like you have had in past with average fairies and so on. So what led you to this particular combo deck?
Yeah, basically I did not want to play like reactive cards against my opponent's strategies. I just had no clue what to expect, so I wanted the fastest, most consistent, proactive deck. And then, well, I found this to be a consistent combo deck that usually wins on turn 4, 5, and that does not really care about graveyard hate or creature destruction or any answer against permanence. So it doesn't really care about what the opponent is doing, it just does its own game plan.
And it's worth saying, if you just look at the deck as a whole here, 4 is the maximum number you're allowed in a deck. 4 Ponder, 4 Preordain, 4 Ad Nauseam, 4 Angel's Grace, Coalition Relic, Lotus Bloom, Simian Spirit Guide. The key components, it's maxed out in every way, and that's your ultimate guide to consistency. It's a very basic point, but when you're building decks, you don't want one Llanowar Elf and one of this and one of this and one of this, unless a very specific reason. If you want consistency, get the 4 in, and that's what this deck does. And game after game, it gets to 6 mana and goes, now I'm going to be really, really unfair. Conflagrate you. Frank Karsten from the Hall of Fame, it's been great to have you with us and great to have you here on home turf at the Pro Tour. Once again, your 50th Pro Tour. That's a pretty epic achievement. Many congratulations on that particular milestone, and we hope
Thank
to
you.
see you for many, many more. Frank Karsten on the Tournament Centre. We'll be back very soon.